Welcome to the Shakaama Live Show with your host, Shakaama. We have breaking news. Andrew Tate, his brother, and the young ladies were all released from jail. They were actually never charged with anything. All of the news organizations are going to tell you that they were charged with this and that and the other, but they were never charged. There were no charges. In Romania, they can do that. And they kept postponing and hindering them from being released. And they could have been there for a whole 6 months. But they finally got the U.S. State Department in on it. And the U.S. State Department did, in fact, assist in their release. Because there were no charges. And there was no evidence that anything actually happened. And if you want to get into the story right quick, the two women who call the police. Romania is a very corrupt country. It is almost as corrupt as Ukraine, but not quite as much. Andrew Tate is a businessman. In Romania, he did business with the mob because that is Romania. If you're going to go in business, you have to get permission from the mob. That is a reality. That is not That's just facts. There's no emotion, and I wish you people would elevate yourselves to adults, okay? When you come onto my channel, please elevate yourself to adults. And listen to what I'm saying, and if you don't believe something, go look it up. I'm not going to do your homework for you. You don't ask CNN to look that up for you, right? I am a licensed journalist, a licensed investigative journalist. On this story alone, I looked at 10 to 20 different sources, okay? So, he went to the mob, opened up businesses, so he's in bed with the mob. Not directly, but indirectly because he owns a business. He made a lot of money outside of the ring. He was a champion kickboxer. And even you have media sources saying he was just a kickboxer. No, he was a champion kickboxer. Anybody else, like, they're not going to say Muhammad Ali was a boxer. They're going to say Muhammad Ali was a world champion. Andrew Tate at one point was a world champion kickboxer. He made money from actual business. We're talking selling coffee, having arcades and stuff like that, right? Then he started his goal, which is to stop them targeting young men and men because corporations want to get to women and separate the women from the men, because if the men are in their lives, the men will say, no, honey, maybe you should not spend your money on a Cadillac Escalade. No, maybe you should not spend your money on Gucci so that you have a full Gucci from head to toe, including your purse and belt and shoes and all that sort of stuff, right? Why? Because men are logical. They make big purchases. We make big purchases, but we're illogical about our purchases. Sure, we need a car, but honey, what do we really need? We have 2 children, and there's 2 of us. We're going to need a van, a minivan, and we're going to need a get-around car every day. Then, when I have extra money, then I can buy my sports car, and I can do all sorts of stuff and work on the car every weekend. Oh, you want a refrigerator? We're going to get one that's the most efficient and has the most space in it. That's what we're going to do. This is advice men give to the women in their lives. When they separate the men from the women, you get stuff like TikTok. You get stuff like Girls Gone Wild. You get stuff like women talking about, oh, a man needs to have $1 million to date me. You're broke. You have no education. You never go to the gym. You do not deserve a millionaire. There is nothing that you can do for a millionaire. Versus all the other women who actually want to have a millionaire boyfriend and have worked on themselves to get a millionaire boyfriend. This is all a part of the corporations. What with a girl who does nothing and gets a millionaire boyfriend? All she's going to do is spend his money. This is exactly what the corporations want. Of course they want the very loose woman to get a millionaire because she is going to do nothing but spend his money. This is why the family court system is the way it is. Why? Because the judge, the lawyers, everybody has their hand out, and they take about 50 to 75% of all of the divorce proceedings. And if you have child support, they have the judge get money. They have a representative for the children. He gets money. The lawyers get money. People do not understand what goes on in all of this stuff. It's about money, and it's separating women from men. If you can make money by people getting divorced, what are you going to promote? You are going to promote divorce. Have you heard it on the news? Oh, marriages have a 50% chance to end in divorce. They're putting that into women's head so that they think that it is much better to get divorced. I'm here to tell you, the investigative reporter is here to tell you, first of all, that's not the case. A divorce is like something like 50%. First time divorce is something like 15%. 15 to 20%. Much better than the 50%, right? I think it's actually 13%. I'll have to check my notes. It's really low. First time divorce. The problem is they count the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Why would you marry somebody who's been divorced 6 times? I don't know. Anyway, they promote the number and they skew the stats to talk about marriage as if it's going to end up in divorce when it does not. But it implants the seed. It's inception, right? It implants the seed into the woman's mind to get divorced. Why? So that the courts can make money. Let me pause right here. I saw a person on Twitter, a man who has hundreds of thousands of followers, which I guess is a good thing. And he normally just talks about politics, right? He showed a skit where a woman screamed at some men and the men finally said, "Lady, we just wanted to point out that you are driving with your car with a gas hose still in your gas tank, sticking out of the gas tank." And for him showing that skit, the women in his Twitter feed said, "How dare you tweet this and show hate towards women?" The person in the wrong in the scenario was the woman. This is the problem with women today. Well, those types of women. Oh, I wanted to say, if you get offended by Andrew Tate, you're the wrong woman. There's something wrong with you. Andrew Tate, mainly 90% of the time, talks to men, about stuff that men go through. You have all of the feminists who talk about women, to women, and what women go through. You have all thousands and thousands of them. And they make millions of dollars too. And nobody bats an eyelash. But Andrew Tate, who is closing in on $1 billion net worth, takes his time out to say, you know what? We have a problem. And I'm making observations. I'm going to create a platform to help men out. Why? Because a lot of men, they don't take martial arts. Most of the men who take martial arts have a much better outlook on life in general. I've taken martial arts. I've taken martial arts all my life. I'm not a championship anything because I took actual, warfare martial arts, to not just defend myself, but to overcome obstacles that are life and death situation, which I didn't want to go do sports. Anyway, my mother wouldn't take me to anything. She took me to one karate thing and that was it. Literally, that was it. And then she said, okay, we're not going to do this anymore because I'm not going to take you to these tournaments and showcases or whatever. So I graduated at the age of 6 or 7 and that was it. So from then on, I took martial arts that were actual warfare level martial arts, from Japan. No sports, no tournaments, no, one hit and quit. No, none of that stuff. No point system. This is how you take somebody out if they attack you. Men who take martial arts have a much better outlook on life, have a much more expansive outlook on life. Why? Because they feel far more confident than the average man. There are men who think they can box, men who think they can quote unquote fight. As a martial artist looking at it, let me say this. I don't consider the knowledge that I have as martial art because it's not an art. It is actual warfare. So when I say as a martial artist watching somebody who thinks they can fight, it seems silly. First of all, they're expending a lot of energy throwing haymakers and they kind of fight like girls. And if you think that's derogatory to say women don't know how to fight, reality. There's a reason we say you fight like a girl. It's because women don't know how to fight. Women are not socialized to fight. And when you see a woman fight, what do you say? She's manly. That's the reality of the world. Women are not supposed to fight. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. Ladies are not supposed to fight. The rest of you women, you can do whatever you want to because you're not a lady. I was raised to call women ladies, and then when I grew up, I said, I need to refine that. Ladies are ladies. Not every woman is a lady. And it is a rare woman that gets into fights who can actually fight. That's the reality of the situation. If you are triggered by Andrew Tate and you are a woman, and you say he's against women, you don't know anything about Andrew. I have watched hundreds of hours. I'm not a fan of Andrew. I'm doing research. I've watched hundreds of hours of Andrew Tate and the stuff that he says. And he, like Dr. Jordan Peterson, says things that are just brutally honest. And the world no longer wants brutally honest. This is why I don't have 1 billion followers, 1 billion subscribers. Because I am brutally honest. I figure you want to know the truth. I figure you're an adult. I figure you can handle the brutal truth. I was never coddled. I'm an only child who was not spoiled. Let me repeat that. I'm an only child who was not spoiled. Which means I'm in the opposite direction. I was ignored as a child. I learned how to ignore from the Ice Queen herself. Ignored me for a whole week. How could a mother ignore a child for a whole week? I said, okay. I didn't get upset. I said, okay, let me learn from this. I can literally, quote unquote, block somebody in real life. I can turn it off. I can switch it off. And it is felt so almost physically by the person that they go crazy. I had a girl screaming at me at work because I ignored her once she said that she didn't like me. I said, okay. And I ignored her to such a degree that she was yelling at me. And then she said, okay, let's go home. It's funny. It's funny because that was the result of the situation. And everybody sat there in the lunchroom, grown adults staring at this woman screaming at me, and then calming down and saying, okay, let's go home at the end of the day. This was at lunch, and she kept that energy the whole time. Andrew Tate is teaching young men and men how to be men. Why? Because there is a worldwide phenomena of corporations separating men from women. This also means that there is a lot of fatherlessness in the Western world, so that women do not have the experience of an actual man who doesn't, quote unquote, want them, and how to interact with a man on an actual loving platonic level, that you can actually like a man and not want anything from him. And they also don't have the experience to see a man in a loving relationship with a woman. This is what fatherless actually means. That boys and girls do not see a man in a loving relationship with a woman up close. And trust me, it's not a black thing, nor a Mexican thing, nor even a white thing. It's worldwide. All the stuff that in the United States it says, oh, that's a black people. Then you go over to England and you have the same exact thing, and it's all white people. So no, it's not a black thing. It's a corporation thing. We are living in the first inklings of the cyberpunk sort of world. The cyberpunk dystopia where corporations are in control, and they are much more in control than you actually want to give them credit for. And the thing is, you can't talk to women and say, hey, women, watch out. This is what's going on. Or you end up like Andrew Tate. And there you have it. He was released from prison with his brother, with the women also who were called co-collaborators. They were all released. They're now on quote-unquote house arrest, but there are still no charges. So this is a fake case. Also, they actually have proof that the women who claimed that he was doing stuff to them, they have them on a phone call talking to each other, conspiring to put all of this together. They have that as proof. Thank you all for watching.